So I've talked to you before about Developer Connection. I've talked about how the service compares to other options out there. I've talked about why it's a good choice for you to find a Magento developer in the UK, and I've also talked about things like why we actually created the service in the first place, to give you a bit of context around why it's an option you'll want to look at. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different, and that is to actually give you a really quick demo of actually creating a project on the site to show you just how quick and easy it is to actually connect with those developers that you might well be looking for. So click through on the Find a Developer page at the top here. That shows on every page and it just brings you straight to create a project form. So this form is really about giving your developer as much information as you can about your project and the spec for your project and what you're trying to achieve. So the more information you can add here, the better. So if you add a good level of detail in here, then that really gives the developer the ability to hit the ground running when work actually starts, because they've got a lot of the detail about what you're trying to achieve already. So some of these fields are required, some of them are optional, they're all pretty self-explanatory, but fill in as much as you can and you'll be getting ahead of what you need later down the line, because you have to discuss these things anyway with the developer at some point. So if you can fill it in now, then that's good really. So I'll talk about a couple of these options as we go through, and I'll just fill out each so you can see how the form works. I want to talk a little bit about this field. This is the budget. You don't have to fill this in, this is optional, but if you do, there's a couple of advantages both for you and for the developer. So if you filled up these fields above, how many developers you want to work on your project, how many hours you anticipate each developer needing to work each week, and the projected duration of your project. None of this is exact, it's estimations, but it gives you a good idea and a developer a good idea as well. So if you filled out those and then you enter a value into here, it will give you an estimated cost for your developers. So it will give you first an estimated hourly rate for each developer and an estimated weekly cost. So when you actually go through and you create your project, the information that you enter here will actually count towards the matching logic. So if you've got a budget in here, then the matches will actually be restricted in terms of the hourly rate of the developers you see will be restricted to the hourly rate that you see here, because it's been filtered by the budget. So it's a great one for you to enter to make your matches even more specific and already matching your budget before you even contact anyone. When you choose to contact a developer, then they will then have access to the spec for your project, all the information that you enter here. Before you choose to contact them, they won't see anything, so you're free to add all the information that you want into this form, and you can be assured that the developer will only actually see this information if they look like they're a candidate that is of interest to you. You'll be redirected to this page, which is the page where you manage the project you've just created. It's a page where you see the developers that have been matched, and you can see all their profile information, choose to contact them, choose to hire them. So I'll point out a few things as we go through this. The first one being this section up here. You probably will start with 5 developers unless you've chosen to be matched to more than 5 when creating your project. Whatever number of developers you've got here, you can always add an additional 5. So if you feel like you want more selection, then you can click through on this and you can add more matches to your project. Below that is a summary of each developer. You'll probably notice this is not genuine information, this is actually my local development environment, but you'll get exactly the same thing when you create a project. So there's a quick brief summary of each developer, there's a name, there's how closely they match the spec of your project. We'll never give you any matches that are less than a 70% match, and there are some things which are required. So the version of Magento, you can always be guaranteed that will be something that a skill that they have. So i.e. you create a Magento 2 project, we're not going to match you with someone who only says they have skill in Magento 1, for instance. So the match, we will always prefer 100% match, but you may sometimes see matches that are slightly lower, down to a minimum of 70%. And below that you can view the profile of each developer, you can choose to contact them, and you can read reviews which previous clients who have worked with that developer have actually left for people like yourself to go through and look at when deciding which is the right developer to work with. This contact button, this is a point at which, if you viewed their profile and you like the look of a developer, if you click on the contact information, then that will send the developer your contact details, your email address and your phone number if you have added that in, and you will also then be able to see theirs. At that point the developer will be able to see your project and the details about your project. Until you've chosen to contact them, they won't be able to see any of that information. When you have contacted them, you'll see this button changes to contact info, and we can go through and we can just get the direct information for contacting that developer. So it's not going through us, it's their actual genuine direct information they've put in for their email address, their name, their phone number, and then you can carry on discussions with them in whatever way works best for you. The profile has a lot of information about their development skill, their development experience. So it says when they've been developing Magento since, which Magento versions they specialise in, all kinds of different things. So everything they've put in as their profile. So if they're certified, there'll be URL there. There's a summary of experience, lots of different bits of information that you can look at, even sort of links to CVs, a website that may be showcasing their work, somewhere showing their references, and there might be other bits of information such as a forum profile or something like that, which shows that they're interactive and alive in the Magento community, which can always be a good sign. If you decide to contact someone, which is the case with this profile here, then you can have the choice to choose to hire that developer. And if you choose to hire the developer, then the other developers will get notified that haven't been successful or selected this time, and then you can begin to work on your project with that developer. After you have created that working relationship and you've actually done your project, then you can come back in to the platform when you're done and mark the project as complete and finished, and that will actually give that developer back the hours that they can then spend on other projects. So we actually manage the availability of all developers on our platform, so they tell us how many hours in total they are available to work each week, and if they then get selected and hired on a project according to the number of hours you have put in that you want that developer or developers to work each week, that time gets taken off their available hours. So you can guarantee that if they are matched and they're shown as a match to your project here, then that developer definitely has the time to work in your project, because we're managing their availability for them, and that all happens automatically.